Hello and welcome everybody to the Roach Wiggle. May the 4th be with you, 2023. I hope I look particularly disheveled today, as it's been a disheveling week, really. For anybody watching the dead stream who is currently tuned in, I see we had a couple of lurkers. We had Eukarya, hello, Magnificent Animals, Exotic Wilderness, Jojo Macro, welcome. I'm going to go Bree Brain. Wow, there's a lot more people here than it says there are. Hylas, Michael Hare, thank you guys for all showing up. Sorry about the cancellation last week. Basically, hey, hello, Farouche here. Hello. Basically, Chain, hello. Chain, I have to talk to you about your order stuff. I guess I can tell you about one thing now. We had as much of the Eastern U.S. has had for the last 2 weeks-ish. We had a bunch of cold weather, and basically the Florida chickens decreased laying. And in addition to decreasing laying, one of them was broody the whole time. And just now, for some reason, just today, now that it's warmed up, when you'd think it would keep being broody, just today that one individual stopped being broody. So I'm working on assembling the eggs. They will be shipped separately. Anybody from previous week's stuff who there were a couple of things that needed to be substituted or that I need to replace or refund, I will be getting to that. The last couple of days have just been a whirlwind. Today by itself was just crazy. I actually had to get some of the auction orders out today just to try and keep pace with the auction stuff schedule. I hope everybody can hear me a little bit better now. Tennyson, my animals, welcome. So yes, basically I've been doing shipping stuff and trying to keep up on everything else that needs to happen. What else? Oh, another thing that happened today. I'm remembering Angela. Another thing that happened today was Angela was helping me with some stuff outside while I was doing packing. I went out to put up some fencing around one of the garden beds with her because she needed 2 people to get that part done. And a random dog walks up to us, and it's one of my neighbors from down the block and around the corner. Maybe about a quarter or half mile away, something like that. And this husky Zeus who keeps getting out, and that was a whole ordeal because Victor saw him through the gate. Victor wanted to eat him, and so I was like, okay, well, he can't stay here. We went down to the owner's house, and we knocked on the door. We knocked on the neighbor's door. There was a number on the truck that they have there. I was like, oh, this might be their personal work number because they have their truck all souped up and it's got bumper stickers and all this stuff over for their work and other things. Called that, no reply. Or looking in the yard, hey, can we thinking we could put them in the yard somewhere. There was a dog crate, but it's it's gonna be kind of warm today, and I don't want to put them in a crate if it's gonna be warm and blah blah blah. While we're standing in the yard, one of the owners comes out and was like, oh, did you guys find our dog? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, oh, I didn't know he was out. I don't know who let him out. And then his wife or girlfriend or something walks out, and she's like, oh, he got out. And it's like, we suspect that there was perhaps somebody was having a very, very extremely relaxing afternoon, and may have forgotten in that process that they let their dog out. And of course, huskies are escape artists, so that took up a chunk of time today. Got home, tried to get everything shipped, and my type A personality and Angela's type B have been butting heads, but it's been a stark contrast in some ways today because I'm like, oh, I have to do this and I have to do this, and she's like, we can just do one thing at a time, and I'm like, okay, I understand. My animals, I only got a partial of my auction animals. My animals, again, I will be responding to emails probably tomorrow night. I will be clearing the inbox again. And anybody, I think I mentioned it in the Discord, anybody who had parts of your order that were missing or substituted, I will be contacting you in an email about why that is and where things are going to go from there. So keep an eye out for that. Unfortunately, again, with the amount of auction orders I've had to pack up and all the other things I've had to do, I haven't had time to clear the inbox every morning. Usually my mornings are, at least the last 10 months, has been wake up, clear the inbox, and then do everything else. But I simply don't have the time to clear the inbox every morning. It's been get up, work on auction shipping, and or do farm work, then do auction shipping, and then hopefully have enough energy left after that for other stuff. So my apologies for not being able to keep everybody directly updated via email, play-by-play. But again, it should be cleared. I guess it's going to depend on how I am. So just going to stay here to do stuff tonight. I might be able to get some of the inbox done, but otherwise it should be cleared tomorrow night and maybe again on Sunday night. Maybe. Depends on some other things too. So speaking of which, I did get a bunch of them out this week, and I do need to send an updated list to the Discord of which ones went out. I have to go through my paperwork here and add those updates. These ones, the check marks. Did that one go out? So I'm going to be doing that right now, actually sending another update to the Discord after apparently Discord's done installing a bunch of updates. Let's see, maybe do an update of the homepage. Yeah, honestly, guys, I just have not had the time or the energy to do everything that I want or need to do right now, including, obviously, the Roach Crossing vlogs went on a hiatus, and that will probably, I'd imagine the hiatus will probably end around June, and I'll get back to regular posting on the blogs there. Boy, the last homepage update was there. I'm going to have to update that right now. I'm going to clear that and just put up a post. Also, this will probably be a shorter live stream, obviously. As I have said, unfortunately, it's pressed for time. This is being the first spring auction. I mean, last year in the fall, stuff usually slows down, and thus the auction is not as big of a deal. But right now, it's like I had to clean out an incubator I got to start hatching some chicks. There's going to be baby pigeons any minute now, or I guess any day now, a minute metaphorically, possibly any minute. I guess she's been sitting on the nest for a little bit over 2 weeks, I think. What else? Expo next weekend, and again, I'm gonna phone it in again. I'm gonna phone in next week's expo because I don't have the time to focus on packing anything up because I need to get all your guys' orders out. Jojo says that some dryless assimilis made it to Montreal, shipped dry with a carrot. Even the pinhead survived. Also, first successful Regis pairing since the last stream. Congrats, Jojo. That's big news. That dryless assimilis are now spreading a bit more through Canada. Also reminds me, speaking of you folks in the even more frigid north, I need to the 6th. Crap. Let's see. The 6th. Sorry, I'm looking to see if I misread something, which would be sucky. The 6th. Nope, the other person misread something. Delightful. All right, more plot thickens with some other things that are pending in the background. Exact Wilderness says, Kyle, my Portentosa and Javonica finally had babies. Congratulations. I don't know if TJ's lurking here or not. I need to respond to his Discord messages, I'm sure, because I'm supposed to send him some stuff and he's supposed to send me some stuff. Honestly, I don't have the time to put away any new stuff right now, basically, unless it was really like urgent. You know, I'm in the middle of getting a bunch of containers cleaned. Angela, bless her sweet heart, is gonna be helping me with cleaning containers tomorrow. Let's see if TJ said anything important. Yeah, TJ hasn't got Andromeda babies yet either. And I haven't as well, which sucks. But I see a couple of people in the Discord talking about the Rainbow Stag waiting, and soon some of the Dorcas people are also in the Dorcas Titanus weight club, and I think if they're still in pupil cells like 2 weeks from now, I'm going to remove them and just sort of note that with people. But I know a couple of beetle people are like, oh, you could just take anything out of the pupil cell and it'll be fine, but also like, you know, they're ready to go when they emerge on their own, basically. And I feel like some of the species people apparently struggle with, like Elaphis, that apparently people rip out of their pupil cells, you could probably not have problems if you just let them come out on their own. So, and these Dorcas titanus are my, well, now they were my first stag to completely rear from egg to adult in captivity, and now very closely followed by the rainbow stags. And so I'm just sort of letting them do what they want to do. And I had females mature quite a while ago too, when they eventually came out of their pupil cells on their own. But I just, I don't want to mess anything up, and I want other people to have a good shot with the Castana color. Kai, of course, took the giant male that I gave him that was still in its pupil cell in its container. You could see it through the side, and the thing was huge. But he removed it from its pupil cell, and it's fine, but it was teneral. But we'll see if he tells me it passes on because of who knows what reasons in a couple of months or something. Hello, some eggs. No, it was somebody else. Maybe I sent your order out this week. Anyway, reminds me I need to stop being so scatterbrained and get people the list of orders for this week. Where are my pinned messages? Did I not send a... Did I not pin the last one? Could have swore that I pinned the last one, many of the week one. Okay, I did. Did I pin it? I don't think I pinned it. No, it's pinned. Okay. So I'm going to just take a moment and write this up here with week 2 stuff. Week 2. Some of the week 2 and remaining week 1 orders have been shipped this week. He said the Monday before those people. This evening, not this evening. This evening? No. Friday evening, Friday night, or Sunday night. An update funds were applicable, blah, blah, blah. All right. So if anybody's here who has these names, one of your orders were shipped this week. I'm just going to get those here. James L. Adelbert Y. Very interesting first name, I must say. Robbie D. I think this is the first time I've actually been able to sit down at my computer for more than a few seconds in the last couple of days, other than printing shipping labels. Les O. Les, I'm not sure I never really learned how to pronounce your name. Josh S. Sivana Y. Also, if anybody has commented anything in the live stream, I will get to that in a moment here. Oh, the big page. Austin M. Aiden B. Anna P. Josh G. Eric L. All right, that's a whole page and not one of these mismatched pages that has multiple weeks of ship dates on it. Is the first full page that I've been able to eliminate from the shipping stuff. So thank you all. We're going to go ahead and pin this. Oh man. Okay. Anyways, now time for me to catch up on all the lovely comments here now that the Discord has been updated. I guess I do still need to put another post here. But yeah, guys, I don't know what more to say other than it's been rough. I don't want this to be a Kyle pity party because obviously I directly benefited from doing the auction, but it is rough being the solo packer for things. Second week of auction shipping. Oh, another batch of orders has been shipped from the auction roster. Please check the Discord server to see if yours was shipped this week, as well as additional details for what to do in case of DOAs or substitutions. Thank you, Kyle. All right, that's up. All right, now let's read into the comments here. Magnificent Animals loves pigeons. I do too. When I went to France and Italy when I was in high school, I took over 100 pictures of pigeons when I was there. Just regular old pigeons that were walking around doing pigeon stuff. And I currently have a pair of giant runts who are on eggs, which are going to hatch soon. And I really want to get parlor rollers. But I think the person I was in contact with over having some shipped in, I think they might have passed away, which is very unfortunate. But I haven't heard from them. And they have all my contact information. So, Exotic Wilderness says, have you seen any morels yet? And Grand Blanc out almost every day. Yes, I had a morel in my front yard yesterday. I'm going to eat it tonight, actually. I haven't seen them pop up anywhere else in the yard, but actually after dark, after I finish up everything I have to do, Angela and I are going to make a forage feast of dandelions and violets and ostrich fern fiddleheads and morels. So I would imagine there's got to be at least another one or two of them on the property. We got so much rain and cold air and rain the last 2 weeks that there must be some more morels popping up. I've seen them in the front yard, more frequently in the front yard, in years past in the back, around the fire pit especially. But now that Victor's out there a lot, I figure he would probably eat them if he found them, so that might explain that. Some eggs asked, do you know if there are any ant species that are obligate hickory nut nesters? I found some tending brood inside of a hickory nut. Might not have been the whole colony, but still interesting. Maybe. I do know there are a couple of species that are acorn specialists. Will was on a big kick about them a couple of years ago, and they are in my yard. I would assume that maybe it's the same species or another member of the genus that's inclined to want to nest in those situations. Loki asks, those are people whose stuff shipped or didn't ship. Those are people whose orders have shipped. Loki, unfortunately, yours has not shipped. Being a bit larger, it's taking me more time to pack up in parts. And as you all know, except in very rare instances, I manually ventilate every single cup. So all those holes that you see is me poking every single hole individually with a modified sewing needle thing, or baby pin, actually, I think is what it is. Or if they're larger, I'm using an ice pick, the family ice pick that's been in the family since at least the 20s and is now been repurposed for that. Let's see. Bree says, mine's on the list in the Discord, and I got click and ship notif and email today, so I'm guessing mine's going out beginning of next week. It probably went out this week. If you received it this week, it went out this week. If you received it last week, it should have gone out last week. Junior, good to see you. Hey, y'all. Boy, there's the couple of the large, the huge or heavy hitter orders are going to be probably a late May thing. That's going to be a lot of fun. But at least the weather's good. I think the weather is finally broken. We went from, it was in the 40s like 36 hours ago during the day, and now it's like mid 60s, and the weather's supposed to climb into the 80s. So Magnificent Animal says they like ash trees about morels. The one in the front it's probably using the dead crabapple. I think that's what it's probably growing off of, because after I cut that crabapple down and it fermented for a couple of years, the morels started popping up. And in the back, I think they're using the oaks. If they are using the mycelium, they're yellow morels, I think. Chain says, I found a single morel this year, but a ton of gyromitra. Let me see what that is. We're also getting pretty close to, isn't that the false morel? Frequently toxic. Yeah, I got to double check the one in the front. I'm pretty sure it's a yellow morel with the location. They come up there every year, and I've eaten them without any issues. But around my rabbit hutches and a little bit in the garden, I put a bunch of wine cap mushroom mycelium 2 years ago. And last year I got some pretty heavy flushes of it by the rabbits in the spring. I think I put it down in the fall or late summer. And then I got a little bit in the fall this year, but a lot of the heavy stuff was in the spring. I think it was in late May. So I think maybe we're coming up on that time of year for stuff. Zai Willie says, I found some great leek oysters. They were golden leek oysters. Yeah, I inoculated some trees around here with some pleurotus, and I haven't seen much out of them. I did get a flush of pink oyster when I inoculated some logs in the front, but the mycelium is not cold hardy, so it didn't survive. But I have some pheasants back or dryad saddle that are popping up on a couple of things, like some box elder wood that I brought from a neighbor down the street and whatnot. So Dynamo Terror says hello, and I say hello back. Exotic Williams says, do you still have Hermetica strumosa, or is Ty Randall the only one who currently sells them still? I still have them, but they've stopped breeding for some reason. I'm wondering if I was actually keeping them too warm. Same with my Leuci Hermetica grossi. I'm going to be trying a different approach for both of those species moving into the future. Because both, I didn't realize, I didn't internalize this, but my subcincta and varicosa colonies have been tough as nails for maybe like 8 years now. Like, I doubt anything could seriously harm either of those colonies at this point. And I don't have them on heat. They're just at room temperature in the bug room. And I'm wondering if that might be why they're so successful. And yet, I try to get Leuci Hermetica and Hermetica, or grossi and Hermetica, up this temperature to really get them going, and then they don't seem to do very well. So I might try keeping them at lower temperatures again. Although gross eye, when I lived with my parents, at one point I had like one female in this one setup, and it produced all my gross eye for like a year and a half. And the setup had heat, it had a heat lamp on it, but it wasn't directly close to it. So maybe it was just the sweet spot of temperature. Maybe it was like the high 70s where I had it positioned, and that's why. Chain says, I need to check my golden oyster spots. I've been checking the mycelium, and it was pinning over the weekend. Yeah, I don't get that. I don't get that deep into. I'm definitely very casual with my acquisition of mushrooms, other than doing the seeding of the mycelium. But like last year, we didn't get any any morels, because it went from being cold and pretty dry to being hot and dry so fast. It was a very poor spring for mushrooms, other than the wine caps. But that was because of some rain that we got in the middle of May, I'm pretty sure. Bree says, because I checked the shipping number and it says pre-shipment info sent, USPS weighing item, got the email like an hour ago. So yes, it would have been sent this week. When I drop boxes off, I usually just, unless it's something critically important, I usually just drop it off. I leave it on the counter and they'll take it. So sometimes that can take longer for them to update the tracking info. And also, tracking info for USPS has been pretty unreliable lately, just in general. I actually got a box of fish shipped in this week, and it was shipped on Monday, and it arrived yesterday around 2 p.m., 2 or 3 p.m., and the whole time that the box was in transit, it just said that the box had been given to the courier in the receiving state. There were no updates of, it's made to Michigan, it's made to this. It was, it's been received, and then it was, it's ready for pickup. How many hours a week do you spend poking holes? Seems like something you could. Yes, I have outsourced it in the past. Will was doing it before. It is skillful labor in a lot of ways, so you don't stab yourself and so you don't fracture the plastic as well. It's definitely one of those hidden skills that I have, to be able to poke the holes in the containers like that. And I like having, except with a handful of things, I like having the three-dimensional ventilation, because you never know when you're going to get a death pocket that will form in a container, that a blob of condensation, or all the bugs get piled up in a corner and then they cook. So I've always found it better to do 360 ventilation on things. And I've been trying to get those. In Europe, they have some cricket containers that have pinholes that are like less than a millimeter all the way around. And I've been trying to find out who manufactures those to try and get them, but it's been almost impossible to figure out who makes those cricket containers, because I would definitely switch to those for the majority of things if I could get them. And quite frankly, I'm not quite at the point where I would pay an American manufacturer to make those containers just yet. But, that day is on the very near horizon, because the volume of stuff, it's very difficult to keep up with at the moment. Tennyson says, I've had a huge baby boom in my Honduras bin. Seems when one mother pops, everyone else wants to. Yeah, I wonder if there's something to that. Or, you get roaches to mature in cohorts, and then you just end up having a bunch of females that have their first litter at the same time, and then it kind of gets more staggered after that. Sorry, Exotic Wilderness didn't mean golden leek oyster, just golden oyster. Somebody says, I found a perfect batch of pleurotus a couple of years ago, but I didn't know what it was. Yeah, I found a nice one 2 or 3 years ago in the fall, and I tried to propagate the mycelium for my own purposes, because it was fall fruiting and it was on elm or something. It was something U of M local to here, and I couldn't get the mycelium going off of the stubs that I had. Junior says, I don't have my Leukia hermetica grossi on heat, and they do well. So yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe I've just been too ambitious with trying to heat them up, and that's been the problem, and I should just neglect the crap out of them like I do with subcincta and varicosa. The longer hair and slight scruff looks good, man, says CS. Thank you. This is my disheveled look. Usually I take a nice shower. Take the boy out before the live stream. I take a shower, and I trim this up a bit. And then I get my face on for the live stream, but I didn't have the time. I'm going to take the boy out after the live stream today. But yeah, I guess my hair does look nicer when it's actually dried instead of in the process of drying like usual. But again, this is just where we're at today with stuff. But yeah, another thing. This is the Kyle venting live stream before the late night with Roach Crossing stream in a couple of weeks. But another thing is the new house is on the horizon. Like I'm looking into selling this house and starting a search for like the property that I want to get. And I finally have a hard number for myself. And I realize I need bare minimum to do everything that I want to do 20 acres. I need 20 acres. That's the low end of what I need. And so, that makes this very finite getting things started. Exotic Wilderness says Kyle should be going to the Taylor, Michigan Reptile Expo again in June or July with my father, who has never been to one. He's a reptile keeper himself. I will make sure to pay you a visit again. I look forward to seeing you. I will be there both of those months, and I will be there in May as well next weekend. Again, kind of calling it in because I got to get you guys all your auction orders and put my time and energy into that. But at the same time, the show, the Michigan Reptile Expo. And I don't think this is a secret or anything like that, so I don't have to be very hush hush about it. But it's very cutthroat just to get a table at the show, and basically, you have to go every month if you want to make sure you have a table. You have to be there every month, rain or shine. No vacations, no hangovers, no violent stomach illnesses or anything like that. If you're not there every month, even if you've been there for years, you will not have your table the next time you go to look for it. So I have to go and I have to make an appearance every month, regardless of what other things are going on. Actually, this is reminding me really quick that more mantids will be in stock soon, and I'm debating whether or not by the end of all the auction order stuff, I want to put it on the table for a isopod husbandry care sheet, which is something I had talked about doing before. And I really appreciated the turnout that we got for the fundraiser for the Roach husbandry sheet. I think a lot of people got what they wanted from the sheet, and it's been updated. Other than all the taxonomic changes that happened right after I published it, I think a lot of people got a lot of good information and stuff from the new updated one, and now I can kind of drag my feet on doing another update to it. But an isopod one is definitely something I think a lot of people have wanted from me, and again, I have to justify taking that time off. So, Zen Monkey, I'm here. We can get started. Good to see you. Braden says, how long do you soak leaves for sterilization? Would this work for white rot wood? Probably would, other than earthworms. There are a lot of worms that there's a lot of worms that can survive completely submerged for weeks or months. But I'm not soaking them isn't necessarily for sterilizing so much at the moment. I've been steaming leaves that are a little bit not as decomposed, ones that have basically weathered the last 6 months on the ground for use, because I'm running out of some of my old stashes of leaves, and steaming has been very useful. But the main thing for soaking is to get out the phytochemicals, like especially with the oaks, the tannins, and make things more palatable. Because they really start to ferment and break down very quickly once the tannins are gone and the water is removed. The conditions become less anaerobic. Those things start to break down very quickly. But the most important thing is the tannins are going to stop a lot of things from breaking them down. So I try to soak the leaves for as long as possible. I think a bare minimum for getting tannins out is probably 4 months at standard, like room temperature type stuff. Kyle, I don't know if you remember when I said I had to make a research poster for a class and I made it on cockroaches. I brought cockroaches in during presentations. It was great, says Some Eggs. That's wonderful. What roaches did you bring in? Undergrad ecology class. Great ecology class. Most kids were excited and unscreamed. or did violence. It's hilarious. Everyone in my classes hate roaches. Sadly, only one of my friends cares for them. Maybe they change their mind eventually. I wonder how many of those people would say they publicly hate jumping spiders or isopods with the publicity both of those have gotten lately. I'm in ecology as well, says exotic wilderness, except most students just get thrown in there who don't care about. Yeah, some people just take it as a requisite for stuff. We had that. Actually, I don't know if there are many people who do that with my ecology class, but ecology is kind of a tough class to be thrown into if you don't give a shit. Sorry. If you do not give a darn, we're not in Roach Crossing after dark, but my point still stands. And that word came out because I'm thinking back to being in college and being in like bio 106 or whatever, or ecology 103, and you've got Kyle being a bad boy, and you've got like some pharmaceutical major who's next to you, who's like on his phone, like not talking at us, but he's just like staring at his phone, and then like not paying any attention, and then like the class ends, and like then he turns to his friend, and is like, "Bro, this is so hard. I don't understand. Like, how do they expect us to pass this?" It's like you didn't listen to it. Like we talked about like simple things like predators and prey. Do you not understand that things eat other things? What are you not understanding? Yeah, sure, once you get to the lab, there's like hard numbers and stuff thrown in, but it's like this. I'm doubting your intelligence when you react to a like children's lecture like this, basically. But anyways, I mean, there's that with everything. I really did not care about being in physics. I still studied because I had to. Man, I was in intro to engineering or intro to physics for engineers because it was the only one that fit my schedule. So it wasn't baby's first physics like the other ones are supposed to be for, again, non-physics majors. So I was just a fish out of water a lot of the times in that. I was like, this is way over my head. Not like, oh, how can anybody not understand? It's like, yeah, this makes enough sense, but like I don't have the worldview or the right brain processing parts to like make sense of what I'm seeing here. So I have to really struggle and try. So I was not dismissive of it, though. Obviously, physics is very important. Tennyson says, currently doing some isopod research, prepare for an ISO Buddies interview I got in a month. Excited but nervous. ISO Buddies, all these names popping up. I think when I'm just sort of passively accruing isopods as I have been for about a year now. But I think once I move, I'm gonna really put a full force into decking out the isopods and really getting the numbers up on some things that people have neglected. Magnus Samuel says, graduated with a neuro degree last year. I was biology focused in your description of the freshman bio classes tutor. And that was when I was in college back in 2011. We're not going to think about that. So I can only imagine the apathy from the non-life sciences majors has probably only intensified lately. So, but what was I going to say about isopod stuff? Don't know where I was going with that. Maybe it's better that I forget where I was going, actually. But yeah, there's gonna be a lot of things that I want to do more of when I just have more space and more resources. Because even though despite living in an oak forest, I do worry about exhausting some of my resources, like my leaf litter and whatnot here. So I have some thoughts in the future on how to not make that an issue, but it obviously requires space. It requires 20 acres of space, as a matter of fact, for that sort of stuff. So also, I appreciate you guys liking the stream. I noticed we've gotten a very large proportion of likes compared to times prior. Actually, did I even like my own stream? I'm going to have to do that, pop it up in another window and hear myself in stereo for a second. But I don't like that. There we go. All right. Now I like my own stream. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, me and all of the yous. That's a very unflattering pause that I've done there. Let's look at some upcoming things really quick as I am preparing to wrap up the stream to get back to other stuff. And guys, I honestly liked it twice. Thanks, Shane. I miss sitting and settling into a nice cozy stream with everybody. I really miss that. I not necessarily the auction because that is more intensive, but I miss getting into a nice casual cozy stream. If you press the like twice, it just unlikes it. So yeah, I miss getting in there with you guys, but obviously I'm trying to get auction orders done and keep my head above water with the things I have to do. It's just, as I was telling Angela, it's just a very busy time right now for everything, and I got to get ready for this move, and it's going to be a big, huge, scary thing, and got to make sure that I have protocol in place that I don't fall off the wagon like what happened with the last move. I have a lot more wisdom from that experience now, fortunately, and a lot more actively supportive and helpful people in my life, which is a real blessing. So I don't think it'll quite happen that way, but you know, it's a possibility, and I have to be prepared for that. We have to be prepared to deal with our inner demons should the situation arise, and not just with that, but also to just suffer. Angela hates. I've been saying the Metal Gear Solid quote a lot today. The why are we still here? Just to suffer. I was saying it a lot today. She's like, stop saying that. It's gonna be fine. But like sometimes you gotta get ready for the suffering and just get through it. And the move's definitely gonna be a good portion of that. But I think by the end of it, I just have this vision in mind of the future building, and finally giving a nice big tour and being able to really blossom into my final form of what bugs and services I'd like to be able to provide people with. And that's what keeps me going. And all of you guys, obviously you guys keep me going, because I wouldn't do this if it weren't for you guys. So, but looking really quickly into the future, we've got, don't forget the Roach Crossing After Dark 500 plus subscribers special. We are already at 529 subscribers somehow. A month since this was put up, we've already jumped up another 35 or 40 subscribers, which is insane. Thank you all. But yeah, we got that coming up, and that is, of course, Kyle Off the Record, Kyle Unhinged. You guys get to ask me the things you don't necessarily have the gall to hear, and accuse me of things you don't have the gall to here in the public space. But I openly invite that. Then you get to hear some more things about me, about not just the bug and roach side, but some personal life stuff. Should y'all request such things, make such demands of me. And then that's on May 19th. That's a Friday night at 9 p.m. I'll probably go for an hour, a couple of hours, so I might make it a drinking evening. And then as an actual live stream on May 25th, we have the special live stream talking about Victor, my experiences with the Gompers. And there's a small chance that by April 25th, Victor's girlfriend could be here. So that would be exciting, and probably annoying, because she won't be housebroken at all. And so I'll have to probably run her outside a couple of times, and Victor's going to be trying to hump her and all that other fun stuff. So either immediately pre-COVID or immediately after COVID stuff started, the United States banned the importation of dogs from about 120 different countries. The ban has not been lifted, so it's looking like it might be a permanent ban. And Armenia was one of those countries. So all the Gompers that are in the United States currently are all that the people in the United States have to work with in terms of genetic stock. I think, based on the rate that I've seen puppies pop up on the club page and the number of registered breeders and whatnot, I would estimate that there's probably a minimum of 300 dogs in the United States and an absolute maximum of 1,000. So that's all that we have in the States. There are more Gompers in Canada, and Canada has not closed their import. April has damaged this. May 25th. Thank you, Zen Monkey. May 25th. All this is obviously happening in May. Thank you. I also see a comment there about Cecropia moth. I'll touch on that in a moment, too. Canada can still import Gompers, so you can still import dogs to the United States from Canada. So if you have deep pockets, you could import a dog from Armenia to Canada. It then has to be held in Canada for some period of quarantine time, something or other, before it can then be brought into the United States. But to do all of that, you're looking at least $10,000 at least to bring in a single dog. So maybe one day I will be at that point in the future. Should there be a need, the club might be able to make it less expensive in that you might be able to find somebody from the Gomper club that's in Canada to, free of charge or with minimum charge is willing to accept the dog and quarantine it on their farm, their large facility, for a couple of weeks before it's allowed to be imported in the United States, which would make the process less expensive. But basically, it's not very feasible for most people, for the majority of people, even for dog breeders at the moment, to do that, unless you really wanted some genetics from one of the dogs. But the club keeps a very good stud book. All the dogs that are for breeding and whatnot, are all registered and genetically tested, and you can see the coefficient of inbreeding and the wolfiness and all the relatives and stuff like that through the club pedigree and whatnot. So they're doing a very good job of making sure that the dogs are as outbred as possible. So, but anyways, so there's a chance that she may be here. She's actually coming from Mississippi. Her parents are two unique bloodlines. I think both are imports, and the dad was the last import from this particular lineage in Armenia before the imports were closed. I don't know if mom is special genetics or not, but so yeah, there's a fair chance that the puppy might be here by then. I am going very hands off with the puppy picking as much as I want to go out and pick another dog. Like, oh, this was so cute. I am saying based solely on temperament, I need a very chill, laid back, aloof dog to contrast with Victor's. He's calmed down a lot with age. You guys probably can tell that just by the stream going on and how less frequently it gets interrupted by him because he's getting older. But he is still a bit more not wired. He's more energetic. He's more excitable, and I definitely need a dog that's the opposite of that to cross with him, so that we do not exacerbate the traits that he already has in the puppies, and we are able to get a better blend of physical and behavioral characteristics in them. And so I'm just like, you know what? It's going to be a cute female dog. They're going to pick a laid-back one. I don't care what it looks like. I need a dog for the job, so I'm putting this completely in the hands of the breeder and the club to pick the puppy based on that. So, we'll see when she gets here. We'll see. Again, that's all being worked out and figured out right now. The puppies are getting they're getting closer to weaning, and so they're starting to develop their personalities too, which is. One female has been ruled out. She's been described as very spicy, does not take anything from anyone or from other dogs, which doesn't necessarily sound like it's the same thing as Victor because he's a big pushover, but definitely need a dog that's just more apathetic in a lot of ways. So, Hyla says, my cat just peed in the substrate I was preparing. Man, Victor, I think he did that once when he was a puppy. He does it outside when I'm hauling hay or straw bales. Sometimes I'll put it down and he'll sniff and be like, oh, this is something new. And he'll just lift his leg up and pee on it. It's like, thanks. It's not like that's getting fed to rabbits in a couple of minutes or anything like that. Exotic Wilderness asked about finding Cecropia moths. Yes. They're in my childhood neighborhood. And I think at least in Southeast Michigan, their preferred host plant is silver maple. And they are flying they're probably flying now. They're going to start flying probably anytime between now and the end of the month. But they're definitely a late spring, early summer thing. Polyphemus moths will be flying probably by the end of by a week from now here. And my neighbor, who has a greenhouse and has some like mulch and stuff tucked up to it and a bunch of stumps in his yard, just sent me a picture of a Lucanus placidus that emerged in April and died in his little greenhouse thing. And I was just like, are you kidding me? Like this so soon, you know? But obviously it was warmed up by his dark patio and the greenhouse he built over it, so it created a little heat island. And so there must have been a pupa or something there that is ahead of schedule, and that's why one of them emerged so quickly. So Victor is a good puppy. He's a good boy. Free nitrogen in your substrate Hylas. So yeah, that's where we're at right now. Apparently the bioluminescent click beetles in Florida emerged early. I think Angela's moving some stuff around. I think it's Ignolator havanensis. If anybody's interested in those, I'm actually going to be receiving some in a week or two. If anybody is interested in some adult Ignolator, I have a contact who's catching them right now. I know Alan and TJ's worked with a lot of Ignolator and that other species. What is it? Pyrophorus. That's that's another thing, guys, is I've come to the conclusion, especially now, it's like I only have so much time for so much stuff. And some of its space and time are kind of connected in that if you have more space, you can cut down the amount of time you need to do things. You can if you have enough space, you can get a bunch of 16-ounce deli cups and throw a single tiny click beetle larvae in every single one of them and throw in a couple of mealworm guts or something like that and leave it for a month. You can do that in like the blink of an eye if you have the space to have that much of that container and space dedication. But like at the moment, I just can't with some of those things, Right now, I mean, I've got like 100 Phidippus regius all in separate containers, and that's enough work as it is for me, which is something like that. So, however, one quick update on a project before I wrap up the stream, and that is that I received, for some of you may have noticed, and I think I made a note of it here on the stream at some point too, that for a very short period of time, I had some Idolomantis available. Showbug, somebody says. Oh, Showbug. Look at this. I had some Idolomantis available, and I sold out of all of them, and I kept 6 for myself. And I thought, okay, I'll give it a go. We'll see what I can do. We'll see what my hubris can achieve here. And I set them up in a 10-gallon tank, and I gave them abundant feeders, and I have a heat light on them, and I water them daily, and blah, blah, blah. And they've made it to L4, and all of them are alive and no cannibalism and stuff. And so I think I've got a good chance at breeding Idolomantis. And so I need stuff like that at the moment, stuff that I can raise communally, or if I have to raise it singly, that it's not a lot of work in between, having to feed it or provide proper conditions for it. So this is a Macinarina torcata. It's a subspecies hybrid from a very old U.S. line. Unfortunately, with the Ugandensis or the old Ugandensis crosses that I had, I didn't get any larvae. I don't know why. The air humidity was high during the summer. I think maybe my substrate was subpar or something. And Kai and I have been troubleshooting what may have gone wrong. And so, but I have a couple other Macinarina lines now, and we're going to see how some tweaks to the husbandry, higher air humidity, different food for the adults, just kind of re-examining my technique for stuff. But the goal that I have, this is the primary female from a line, a subline. I mean, by that I mean this is like an F1 out of a selection of an adult. We're trying to get them to be orange. We're trying to get them to be this orange color all over. I don't know if this green on the scutellum here can be bred out or not, but I think it'd be pretty cool to have them be all orange. And so that's what I'm hoping for with this strain. And again, this is an old U.S. strain. The original strain itself is very polymorphic. You get blues, you get greens, you get all kinds of colors. But I'd like to isolate all those colors or work on all those colors in some capacity. But since this female this is the first adult that I've gotten. This is the hope. The hope here is to get the orange line going before other stuff. So they are smaller, or at least it seems they're smaller than the other blue line that I had, which I am disappointed that I couldn't get anything out of the line. I know a lot of people were looking forward to that, but I tried. I shifted them through a couple of different substrates. I couldn't get any larvae out of them. I couldn't even get eggs for some reason. So maybe I'll try with that line again eventually if it's still available somewhere. But all right, I think I'm going to wrap things up. I again appreciate everybody's patience with the auction order stuff. I think next week I'm going to be able to get more auction orders things out. I have isopod husbandry to do tomorrow for the first time in 7 weeks. And so, Orangey One, you are Beetle Hope. Thank you, Zen Monkey. I'm going to be doing isopod husbandry tomorrow for the first time in 7 weeks and getting that through. That's been a big thorn in my side since getting back. Is like, oh, I'm going to do isopods. I'm going to finally do isopods. Looks like a lot of the things that I looked in, I've had some things that have just boomed where it's like, okay, I guess you like the neglect. And then other things where it's like, why did you crash? You have food. The moisture's good, blah, blah, blah. So anyways, I guess I'll wrap things up here. Thank you all for joining me. I look forward to seeing you all next week. There will be a live stream next week. So hopefully a little bit more laid back than this week's. And until then and beyond, may your cultures ever be bountiful. Thank you for joining me, everybody. Good night.